Hello everyone, my name is Darren from Gold Guys Bullion. Today we're going to be talking about the market update. Today's date is June 9th, 2025. We're going to be doing a lot more of this. You're going to be seeing me, you're going to see a lot of other guys on this channel. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things, but for me, you're going to get a lot of market updates and the way I see things and what's going on in the world. How does it make sense to us and how does it affect the precious metals market? Reminder, this is not financial advice. Please consult a licensed financial professional before making any investment decisions and do your own research. Last week, there's a lot of things going on. We had the Battle of the Billionaires, arguing over a bill, and then releasing some dirt, apparently, on one another. How does that affect us, especially the precious metals market? Well, the interesting thing about precious metals is that everything affects precious metals because precious metals itself is money. The one thing that we need to understand is that we're living in a very interesting time. We can all feel it, we all know it, but we can't quite put our finger on what it really is. So to me, the way I look at this is information is your best investment. Now, how does that make sense? Well, when you talk to someone, you talk to different people, you're exchanging ideas, you're realizing there's this huge disparity between what some people think's going on versus what other people are hearing and so on and so forth. Well, the importance of why this needs to be talked about is because we're living in a war. Because the war is up here for each of us. And you might say, gosh, this guy's really talking just something. I don't even know what he's talking about. Is this guy crazy? Well, go ahead and talk to some people and you'll realize that there is such different perceptions and perspectives about what's going on every single day, every week, every month, over a course of years now. It's such a disparity that it becomes clearly obvious. They're receiving information somewhere, they're receiving somewhere else, and here we are trying to share information ourselves. Now, how does this relate to gold and silver? Well, gold and silver is something that in itself has an inherent value, something that is perceived to be something when in reality it's something much different. It's perceived to be, $3,300 right now for gold. It's perceived to be $36 for silver. Well, if you look at it, based on the Constitution, Article 2, Section 10, gold and silver should be money. So what is the thing that's valuing 1 ounce of silver, 1 ounce of gold? Well, we've been trained, that's money. Well, maybe that's currency instead, right? Wouldn't that make sense? Something doesn't have any inherent value, any store of value due to inflation. Meanwhile, gold is constantly kept up with the price of inflation in terms of how much the purchasing power of 1 ounce of gold can give you from 90 years ago to where you are now. You can buy the same thing, but yet the value attached to it, currency, the numbers, totally altered. This is where it gets really interesting in this market, is that gold and silver are affected by everything. So when we watch what's going on in the market, we're paying attention to everything. It's very difficult, but we love doing it. That's why we're in this industry. That being said, the Battle of the Billionaires. Last week, wow, what an episode, All of a sudden we started with discussing the bill, the big, beautiful bill, and then we all of a sudden transitioned into something far more obscure, talking about Jeffrey Epstein. Well, it's interesting that those two things were talked about because the net effect of these conversations, the net effect of the narratives that we saw, was something that everyone can get behind. The big beautiful bill, talking about printing trillions of dollars again, adding to our debt, exploding through the next debt ceiling. Well, guess what? The debt ceiling's been already extended and pushed up hundreds of times. At this point, the fact that it's even a conversation of, we ought to push up the debt ceiling, it's going to happen. It's not even a point of having discussion. It keeps getting pushed up because it has to. It has to. We're already at almost approaching $37 trillion in debt. 37 trillion. The interest attached to that debt is more than our military spending. We're looking at this and saying, What's another $2 trillion, huh? Well, that becomes an argument because, like a snowball being pushed down a hill can suddenly keep rolling, gather momentum, and becomes an avalanche. Now you look at that and you say, well, what's to say a couple more $1 trillion isn't going to hurt? Well, it really is. But regardless, we're going to get to this point either way. If you spend this money now or you don't spend it, you're going to get there. How does that affect us? It doesn't matter if you're left, right, center. We all have one thing in common. We have economic energy that we put forth in our jobs. So the moment that each one of us are touching our back pocket and saying, man, why does my back pocket hurt? Well, it's burning because all of a sudden the things I buy that used to be cheap and easy for me to afford, food for my family, rent, my housing mortgage, my cars, my loans, whatever it might be, all of a sudden all of us are looking around and saying, what the heck? What's going on? That's a unifying moment across all party lines. Everyone is in the same boat. So that's a narrative effect, an outcome from the first conversation of last week between the Battle of the Billionaires. The second one is another major unifying moment for left, right, center. Release the Epstein files. Trump's listed in it, release it. Well, guess what? Left, right, center. Everyone wants that. We're all craving it. We all want it. So all of a sudden, the Battle of the Billionaires, unifying moment with the bill and government spending, our debt crisis, all these things. Everyone's worried about that. Everyone's on the same page, left, right, center. Everyone knows that. Epstein files, everyone, same thing. Left, right, center. Everyone's in on that. We all want it. Well, all of a sudden, 2 days later, no one's talking about it. Everyone's talking about LA and what's going on there. So all of a sudden, these unifying things are no longer discussed. Well, that's fine. Because all of a sudden, you got this new toy to play with from a narrative perspective. And let's talk about this for as long as we need to, so that way we're not talking about those things anymore, because those things really unify people, and actually, common ground will be found. So let's keep talking about this thing. So divisive in terms of how the narratives can be deployed on either side. Whatever, you guys have that. Because it's not here nor there. The most exciting part is what's going on in precious metals. And that's what the market update here is to reflect. Silver right now is beginning to run. Now I say beginning to run because we look at what a 50-year chart looks like on this guy. We are witnessing a multi-decade long cup and handle formation. And if you're a technical analysis guy looking at graphs, you know a cup and handle is a bullish chart analysis. The graph looks very strong in the upward momentum as it creates the handle and continues to push through. Well, you've probably never seen a cup and handle like this one. Right now, is there anything out there that's not at its all-time high? And not all-time high, but just like more expensive than it was 20 years ago, even 10 years ago? Everything is increasing in terms of cost. And gold and silver should be a hedge against inflation. But yet, silver it's not even its all-time high? No, it's 70% of its all-time high. Is there any other asset class out there? Think about cars, think about your homes. Now think in general, food, whatever, computers, desks, anything. Everything's more and more expensive. Yet this thing that's supposed to be a hedge against inflation due to its natural principles and the nature of what it is, limited, has to be mined out of the ground, most widely used industrial metal of all of them. All of a sudden, it's still 70% of its all-time high. Wow. From an investment portfolio, man, this would be something good if it's still a low price. Well, that being said, big brother gold already ran through its previous all-time high. In fact, gold's all-time high just 5 years ago was $2,040 in August of 2020. Gold today is $3,300. We're looking at this and saying that is a almost 70% increase from its previous all-time high. And I don't think gold's done yet either. Because we look at the amount of debt, the level of inflation, the money printing, the egregious spending that's continually coming out from all these bills and all these social programs, all of it, right? Gold's going to keep going because it corrects It tells you, is the market stable or not? Is there uncertainty in the market? Gold is the one that will tell you what the market is actually feeling behind the scenes. Silver, on the other hand, silver is something that I would recommend. If gold's outside your price range, which for a lot of people it is, 3,300, even getting fractionals of 10 grams, we're talking thousands of dollars. Silver is very approachable. Silver itself has now, breached the $30 threshold that was so difficult to get through for years and years and years. Got through 30. Had a hard time getting through 35, but just last week, it broke through 35. And now, as of this recording, it's already almost on its way to 37. So that being said, we look at what's going on and we say, they're trying to tell you, look here, not here. What gold and silver are representing in this market is they're telling you the signs to come. They're telling you what is going to be happening in the future. And if you read the charts and you look at it, it's an easy bet. In fact, I don't even call it a bet. It's a sound money principle investment. And that's why we here at Gold Guys believe in this, because we see what's going on and we see that this cannot sustain for much longer. So that being said, you're going to hear a lot of different stuff from me, a lot of different topics as the weeks go through and all this news comes up, which happens all the time. There's constantly something to talk about, right? Goodness gracious. You're going to be hearing from me on this channel. You're hearing from a lot of other guys that represent the Gold Guys. You're going to hear a lot of different opinions, but at the same time, the most important thing for you is to invest in your own education. Find sources of information, trust yourself in guiding yourself through, have the wisdom to comprehend what you're being told. Call it for what it is. Is it something you think is real? Is it something you think is BS? Whatever it might be. Invest in your own education. Look into these things I'm talking about. Look into the debt curve. Look into all of the factors that are going into what silver is and what gold is and where the prices are compared to the S&P 500, for example, or whatever it might be. Look at the mining supply that's happening on demand for supply versus demand of the entire globe. Look what's happening year over year. You're going to find some very interesting things. So yes, your best investment is not necessarily in gold and silver. It's in your own education to understand what's going on. But that will lead you into our market, which is gold and silver. If you like this video, if you liked or have any interest in commenting or have any concerns or engagement, please like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel. You're going to get a lot more of this from us. This is our first time doing this. It's my first time doing a video like this. I hope you enjoyed. Just remember, we're the Gold Guys. Buy smart, sell with confidence. Take care, and God bless.